was a big weekend for metal releases. I'm going to talk about 6 metal releases, and this time they're going to be from some well-known and well-established bands. I will be reviewing each album as I usually do, but in a more condensed format, and I will give a score out of 10 for each album. You could find the albums listed in the video description as well as their timestamps. With that being said, let's get into this. First album that I have is High on Fire with Cometh the Storm. This is a big name band in the metal scene, but to be honest with you, I never really listened to them before. I know they are a three-piece. They have been compared to Motorhead, that type of band. This is their 9th album. They have a new drummer on this album. They reminded me of the band Mastodon. There are lots of sludgy guitar riffs and pounding drum beats. The vocals are very harsh. I also noticed that they like to add in these different melodies in their songs. So for example, the opening track, Lamb's Bread, has an interlude that introduces some Middle Eastern guitar sounds. The next track, Burning Down, has some sludgy stoner metal styled guitars. And I know the frontman, Mike Pike, was from the stoner band Sleep. They have an instrumental in the middle of the album called Karanalik Yol. And this has some Middle Eastern guitars and some interesting percussion that includes hand claps and stringed instruments, which I believe is a mandolin. Then there is Soul's Garden Curse, and this one has some really slow and heavy guitar riffs, which also have a psychedelic undertone. Not everything is slow on this album. They have a 2.5-minute song called The Beating, which is very fast and aggressive hardcore punk. And that one has a really fast drum beat. They have another standout track called Hunting Shadows, which had more of a classic heavy metal sound and more of an upbeat tone. I thought it was not too bad. I am a newcomer to the band, so I'd probably have to do a deep dive into their albums. But for now, I'll give this an 8 out of 10. I have heard a lot of good things about this album and band, so I probably need to listen to them some more. Next is Melvins, and the album is Tarantula Heart. This is one of the first grunge bands, and this band has been around for so long. They have had members who have played in Nirvana. They're basically legends, despite never reaching the heights of the other grunge and alternative bands. They've also released a lot of albums. This is their 27th album. I reviewed one of their albums in 2021 called Working with God, but then they released another 3 albums after that. This one is very different and experimental. They open the album with a 19-minute song, which is just slow and sludgy. It's a psychedelic stoner metal type of song. They have some guitar riffs with these trippy sounding guitar tones and lots of spacey atmosphere. There are also some isolated drum parts as well as some thick and heavy bass guitar riffs. What is interesting about this album is that they use 2 drummers who would trade off their drum fills. This song has a strange resemblance to the band Primus. There's a lot going on with this song. Parts of it reminded me of that early Syd Barrett era Pink Floyd, where it just sounds like a musical acid trip. Then they have 4 more songs that are a normal length. Working the Ditch has some more psychedelic sounds with some eerie noises and a drum solo. Then it goes into some sludge metal. This reminded me of a song from Corrosion of Conformity's Blind album. I cannot think of the name of that right now. Then there's a shorter song called She's Got Weird Arms. This sounds like some psychedelic rock, but it has post-punk styled vocals. This was very weird. It reminded me a little of Alice Cooper's Halo of Flies. Then the song Allergic to Food. As always, they begin with a drum solo, but then they go into some weird, sludgy guitar riffs and psychedelia. The last song is called Smiler. This is one of the more metal-sounding songs with some traditional heavy metal-style guitar riffs bordering on thrash with a mix of psychedelia. The vocals were very new wave. And overall on this album, I thought it was a bold change in their sound, but then again, it is Melvins. They've been known to be weird. I give this an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's something I will be going back to a lot. The band is very underrated. I guess it's because they don't really play by the rules. Next is My Dying Bride with A Mortal Binding. Let me first say I usually do not like doom metal, and I don't mean classic doom like Black Sabbath and Trouble and those types of bands. I'm talking about modern doom like Paul Bearer and Ahab. But this is a band I have listened to before in the past, and I must say that I have enjoyed their past material. but it's not a band that I go back to often. The album was a surprise for me. I liked it much more than I was expecting to. This was my favorite album of the week. It's another band with a large discography. This is their 14th studio album. There are 7 songs, and they range from the 6 to 11-minute song length. The opening track, Her Dominion, was more of a death doom song with these heavy, chugging guitar riffs and deep guttural vocals. I like the fact that the vocals are very harsh, but the lyrics are very distinguishable. Then along with the heavy guitar riffs are these sad and beautiful violin guitar melodies. Then they have a Thornwick Hymn, and this one has some heavy and pummeling guitar riffs that are matched by some softer melodies. You can hear the clean vocals on the song. I like how they mix slow guitar riffs with the faster drum beats. The music can be both heavy as well as soft and melancholic. Then they have the second of 3 bells, and this one has more of an atmospheric sound with some clean guitars and the sound of running water. The intro to the song is very relaxing and zen-like feel. There's also some more clean vocals on this track, and the overall tone is just very sad. Then the song Unthroned Creed, and this one picks up the pace a little, but still very doomy track. I like the chugging palm muted guitars and the dark and gothic styled vocals. The song goes through lots of rhythmic changes with some softer melodies. The longest song is the Apocalyptist, and this one's over 11 minutes long. It starts with some soft classical melodies and goes into heavy death doom. They bring back those heavy death metal styled guttural vocals, and I like this one. This is not one of those doom bands that drags their songs out with the same guitar riff for 10 minutes straight. This band likes to change it up throughout their songs. So this song, The Apocalyptist, has lots of changes from heavy to light throughout its runtime. Overall, I was impressed with this album because it is doom metal, but it kept me engaged with all the different changes in the songs. My score is a 9 out of 10. I think this is one of the exceptions for modern doom bands that I can actually get into. Next is Praying Mantis, and the album is called Defiance. This band has been around for a while, for a long time. They were part of the new wave of British heavy metal movement, along with bands like Iron Maiden and Saxon, but they have a different sound. They're more of a melodic arena rock band. Their last album was released in early 2022. I remember I reviewed it on my channel. This was not too bad. They sound a lot like 80s arena rock bands like Europe or Night Ranger. You have big vocals, power chords, keyboards, lots of catchy hooks. Songs are filled with melodic guitar solos. There are some decent songs here. The title track, Defiance, is a melodic rock song with big vocals as well as some backing vocals. The production is very polished. There are some songs that are more upbeat. So for example, the song Feelin' Lucky has a harder rocking sound. There are a few power ballads such as the song Forever in My Heart with some soft piano playing that's paired with melodic lead guitar solos and some big melodic vocals. I like the bass playing on the song. You can hear it very well in songs like One Heart, which is another melodic rocker / power ballad type of songs. Then there's also some modern rock on here, like the song Standing Tall, that has a part which reminded me of the Knight Rider intro. The album's not too bad if you like this type of music. They have evolved far past their new wave of British heavy metal origins, but for me it's a 7 out of 10. I think if you like melodic rock, you like bands like Journey, Survivor, Loverboy, I think you can appreciate this. This is Vanden, Plas, and the name of the album is Empyrean, Equation of Long Lost Things. This is one of those bands I have heard of. I've had people recommend them to me. I've never listened to them until now. I think they were much more popular in the UK and Europe. They are a German progressive metal band. They've been around since the 80s. This is their 11th album. The only name that I recognized was Alessandro Del Vecchio, the keyboardist who has either played with or produced like almost every band on the Frontiers label. This album was pretty good. There are 6 tracks. The songs are long. Song lengths range between 6 to 15 minutes. This is some epic progressive metal. They reminded me a little of Dream Theater. The opening track is the title track with that long title. They have progressive rock-styled keyboards mixed with heavy metal-styled guitar riffs. There are a lot of time signature changes and guitar solos. You have some heavy parts with distorted guitars and softer parts with melodic keyboards. I thought this was an instrumental at first because the vocals did not come in until halfway through the song. Then they have the song My Empyrean Flight. It's the shortest song of 6 minutes, and this one has a mix of softer keyboards and heavier guitars. The song is very melodic and the vocals are very big and powerful. Third song is Sanctimoniarum. This has some heavy guitar parts mixed with the keyboard sounds. Most of the songs go back and forth between the louder sections and the more melodic verses. Then there was the Sacrilegious Mind Machine, which was one of the heavier songs, but it's hard to say about this particular song because every song goes through so many changes where they just run the gamut of heavy riffs, melodic keyboards, changing rhythms, and melodic vocals. I think this band reminds me a lot of Dream Theater, like I said before, but also like Nightwish, but with male vocals. It's not too bad. I think this one might be a grower. For now, my score is a 7.5 out of 10. It might go up by the end of the month, but I still need to spend some time with it because it's prog, and I think there's like a lot going on here, and I think there's something here I can enjoy. I have one more album, that is Kickin' Valentina with Star Spangled Fistfight. I knew about this band because someone recommended them to me a few years ago. I never listened to them that much. They have a throwback sleaze rock sound, similar to late 80s Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, LA Guns, Dangerous Toys. The opening track has some AC/DC style guitar riffs and raspy vocals. The production is good. You can hear the bass guitar very well. This is big fist pumping type of music. They get heavier on some songs like Fireback, which had more of a Skid Row type of sound. Men on a Mission has a cool bass guitar intro and some groovy guitar riffs. And this song in particular reminded me of the Cult from their Sonic Temple period. Then there's Turn Me Loose, which is more of a Brian Johnson AC/DC type of song. Then they have the song Amsterdam, which is a very 80s hair metal type of sound, like Motley Crue, Poison, that type of thing. This was not too bad. They really captured the music of that time period. If you like those types of bands, I guess you can appreciate this. My score is a 7 out of 10. The songs are catchy, the production is good, and there's a lot of dirty, distorted guitar riffs. So that is all. Let me know what you thought of these albums and these bands. Check out last week's episode of New Album Releases, the April 12th video. Thanks for watching. Please like this video. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe if you have not already. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.